This is a personal development thing that I want to try doing. I'm going to be talking about this subject today, just mainly for myself, but also for the world to see, I suppose. Wow, there's no trees. I grew up on a ranch, and it kind of surrounded me. Wow, this is quite an achievement. No trees. And growing up around it definitely made me a little bit more desensitized um, with everything that's happened in my life, especially the most recent thing that I've lost. It was definitely more jarring. Just mainly my reaction to it all. It felt like I undermined what was happening. So I think I'm just gonna kind of go in like chronological order and kind of explain why I feel desensitized to it. Because, like I said, I grew up on a ranch, and we would raise and butcher cows. We would, we had chickens, but not like meat chickens, like lay eggs. And we would sell those meat and eggs. And in the morning before school, when the cows would get like sent to slaughter, me and my sister would sometimes go out there and watch it happen. I don't know why our parents really thought that was the best idea, but I found it very interesting, and I didn't really see anything wrong with it. But looking back, it definitely desensitized me to some extent about like how scary it can be and what it like really means to have something die. And it kind of just perpetuated that throughout my life. There was other moments as well, because I do that a lot. I'd want to watch nearly every cow or pig get slaughtered, and I'm not really sure why. I think I just found it interesting, the process. But there was one moment that I think it really clicked for me, um, that it was wrong, and that was when the wild animals on the ranch would like get into the chicken houses and eat the eggs, which was a problem for my mom's business. So she needed to have some way of stopping that. So she'd catch them in cages, and oftentimes my dad would then um, shoot them so they wouldn't come back. I understand that's a complicated subject, because I like animals, and I don't think they should die. But at the same time, we were kind of poor for living on a ranch, so they were basically affecting our income. And it was just kind of a given that we would have to. Probably should make a boat, actually. But through all of that, one of the times when I think my dad wasn't around, he was off doing something or at least busy, my mom didn't want to have to shoot them, so she just would drown them. And since I was so used to like watching the other things, I said I wanted to watch like it drowned. And in that moment, I was watching it struggle, and that's when it like really hit me, like it was dying, I guess, because all the other times for like the butchering and stuff, they were shot, so it was quick. And I didn't really think about it as a living thing dying, but watching this animal struggle kind of woke me up in a sense. I was just kind of, I was kind of frozen there and kept watching. And it hurt to watch this animal suffer. And after that time or moment, I stopped like watching anything get butchered or killed and just kind of distance myself from that aspect of it. But I think it's still so ingrained in me because when I was younger, we'd have like a lot of pets because on a ranch you'd have cats to just make sure there's not a lot of rats or mice and everywhere because those would also um, eat the eggs. So we'd had like 6 cats at one point, and they slowly passed away. And I was heartbroken. Cats are very special to me, but over the years I don't know if I just know things are going to pass away so I don't get nearly as connected as I used to, or if I simply don't feel attached to the animals as much anymore. I really don't know. And I'm not like happy about that because I miss having the connection with them. But at the same time, I feel like I struggle with connecting with them just simply for the fact that they are going to pass away. And one of the most recent things that really made me think about that was my um, ex's dog passed away, and it hit her really hard. And I'm someone who already struggles with comforting someone without like being like just a physical comfort. Like I never really know what I can say to comfort them in any way, to be honest. But in that moment, all I could do was really be there for her, but I never really knew what to say. And she was so hurt, and I just honestly didn't know what to do. Because when my animals would pass away, at least now, it was, I don't want to say momentary, but it didn't really like affect me for a long amount of time. And it used to, so I understand how she feels. And it's not like I'm saying it's weaker if you feel that way. And I feel kind of sad that I can't feel that way anymore. Like, I simply maybe just mentally don't get as attached anymore. And that hurts a little bit because I'll have that disconnect that I definitely feel even more now. Because I guess coming up on 2 years ago, which is crazy, my dad commit suicide. And that was shocking, but I never had like the best relationship with him. And I know that doesn't give you a lot of detail, but when he died, I thought for a long time that I was just kind of in shock, that I'd cry about it eventually, that it was just me processing things, because I did find him, and that was jarring. But also, I guess, just terrifying. And I didn't really know what I was feeling, because very complicated family situation. But he's also the reason I don't think I could cry for him. Because when I was little, I would cry a lot, and he'd constantly yell at me to stop crying, which would just make me bottle it up. It wasn't like a be a man thing, it was more of just he didn't want to hear it. So he'd yell at me to stop, and that was, it hurt a lot because I was little, and I feel like when I was little and I cried, it was to have attention and to be comforted. And that's probably where and why I can't really comfort people with words, because I was never really comforted with words. Maybe it's just my mom really didn't know what to say either, because she didn't grow up in the best household for communication. She didn't know what to say, but she tried her best. But my dad didn't. And I tried to have a better relationship with him, but there was just so many moments where it just, nearly every interaction with me, either helping him on the ranch or doing an activity with him, ended up with him yelling at me for some reason or another. And that, of course, made me more standoffish when he would ask me to do things with him. And I do hold some regret, even though he treated me so poorly, for me not trying to do more things with him before he passed. But at the same time, nearly every time I would, it would just end in that sort of manner. But towards the end, he was trying to get better. I was trying to manage my own feelings and figure out if I could kind of forgive him for how he treated me. But I didn't really get the chance to have enough time to think about that. Because once he started trying, he then took his life not long after that. So there wasn't much I could really do. But my sister tried really hard to have a better relationship with him. But even then, it kind of proved that he wasn't ready, because a lot of the times when she would try, he'd be either defensive about why he treated us poorly, or just defending his actions of yelling at us and being mean. There was a multitude of times where I thought like the workday was over as my like 5-year-old self, and I'd go up to my grandma's, because we all lived on like the same ranch. And I'd go up to her and spend time with her, and we'd play board games and other things like that. So it was a lot of fun. But many times, I guess, we weren't done working, and he would come find me wherever I went and like physically pull me out of there and like yelling at me, like asking why I left. And I obviously did not want to be doing whatever was on a ranch when I was 6, working. It wasn't my ideal time. and it was difficult to at least keep up with him in that aspect, because I think he grew up always having to work, so he didn't really see it as bad, but all I really wanted to do was play. And I think that's what kids should do, and is what they should want to do. But a lot of my summers outside of school were building some sort of thing, whether it be laying pipelines or fences. There was a lot of work that needed to be done, and I was an extra hand that could do it. It's more of a ramble than I wanted it to be, but I don't think it's bad. But I think losing him affected me less than I thought it would. Was also an eye-opener. Because I feel like it should have affected me more, but I simply don't feel it. I don't know if it's just because he was emotionally and verbally abusive, or simply because I had lost that connection with him that I would have had as like a father figure. But I don't really know. And I don't really know if just talking about it will magically make me understand how I'm feeling and why I decided to make these and talk about them. But maybe it was just because I wanted to see if it would spark anything within me or help me have a deeper understanding of how I'm feeling. Because I feel like I should have more feelings. I should have grief. I should have sadness of losing him. For the longest time, not the longest time, but for a good while after he passed, a way of thinking I developed was thinking of the last time I did this, he was alive. And I had that mentality for a while. I don't really know the exact time it stopped. Maybe maybe a year after he passed. Like the last time, example would be like, last time I went to that restaurant, he was alive, or last time I played a certain board game, or something similar. And it wasn't like, that's why I thought I was still just in shock, because I didn't really feel like I was sad, but it wasn't the sadness of losing a parent that I feel like it should have been. And, wow, I probably should just use my hands. But I didn't really know how to manage that, because I never really thought it would transfer over to people, like what I talked about with the pets, how it slowly got less and less. But I don't, because he's the only like family member I've lost, like other than grandparents who I wasn't the closest with. I thought it would hit me harder. And I'm worried I kind of have this disconnect that this disconnect with death. Like, I know it's natural and all things come to it, but it shouldn't be this easy. But I also can't just force myself to feel a certain way. But I also want to understand why I'm feeling this way. Because I don't want to go into a relationship and not be able to process my own feelings, especially if someone close to me dies or passes, and especially if my partner loses someone valuable to them, because I don't know how to help somebody through that. I feel like it's very situational, I understand that, but I don't really know how, and I don't know why it was so easy for me to get over the passing of my dad, but then for her losing her childhood pet was devastating. Like, I understand it, the connection, I've had it, but I feel like it's faded so much. But for her, it's still so, it was so vivid. And I know I don't wish people to be like in pain and suffering over their past loved ones. But at the same time, I feel like I should feel something more than I am. But I don't. I really can't find a cave. But I'm trying. And that's what this is. It's just a way for me to talk about it, I suppose. Maybe understand myself more, or even find the random one person that might actually watch this and help them understand that other people feel the same way or even think I'm crazy. I don't really mind either way, but I'd be happy to be able to help somebody. Villager base. What the freak is that? Dead cow footsteps? But this channel will mainly be for myself, my own personal kind of. I thought of it as a journal when I thought about doing it, starting a Minecraft world and just playing and talking to myself about anything. It can't just be a journal. I was thinking of doing themed things. My first one was gonna be death, because it's relevant to how I feel. It's hard for me to, I guess, understand it because it's been around me forever. I'm so desensitized to it that I feel a disconnect with other people, and especially with my inability to cry from my dad, that even makes it stronger. Not being able to cry has been one of my bigger things. I felt the disconnect with just other people, because I feel like other people are just able to cry when they're sad, and I kind of wish I could, because sometimes it hurts a lot to just have to hold it in. And I'm not really, like, after time it just fades. I think it's less painful. But at the same time, I used to cry a lot, and I miss it. But my body won't let me do it anymore. Once I find a cave, I'll probably end this one. But I'll just end it here. I'll find a cave sometime soon. For the next one, we'll be finding a cave. Thank you if you listen to me ramble this far, and I hope to see you soon.